Saigon's extractions were more organized than what was done in Kabul in Afghanistan, period.
There was only a cold reality of either following through on the agreement to withdraw our forces or escalating the conflict and sending thousands more American troops back into combat in Afghanistan, lurching into the third decade of conflict. I stand squarely behind my decision. After 20 years, I've learned the hard way that there was never a good time to withdraw U.S. forces. That's why we're still there. We were clear-eyed about the risk. We planned for every contingency, but I always promised the American people that I would be straight with you. The truth is, this did unfold more quickly than we had anticipated. So what's happened? Afghanistan political leaders gave up and fled the country. The Afghan military collapsed, sometime without trying to fight. If anything, the developments of the past week reinforced that ending U.S. military.
Joe Biden knew months ago that this collapse was coming, and they made no move to get American citizens out of the country early. They thought it was going to, at 1.6 months, a revised 90 days. It didn't take but 10.
Desperation they have to be hanging on the side of an airplane, basically preferring death over what's going to come to them.
It's a painful scene that played out at Kabul's main airport. Afghans desperate to get out of the country as commercial flights were canceled.
Everyone I know is either in hiding or just trying to stay at home.
Ashia Sharifi says her friends, family, and all those who fought for Western ideals for the last 2 decades are now terrified of what's to come. Sharifi is a U.S. immigration attorney who was born in Afghanistan. She spent several years working in the country, focusing on issues like immigration and gender justice alongside other activists. Last time she was there, she saw hope that things would change.
And I remember hearing these young boys and children laughing and singing. And my friend who had been there throughout the years had said, we didn't get to do this during the Taliban. There was no laughing, there was no singing. It was like being covered in darkness.
Bahar Meher came to the U.S. last year on a special immigrant visa available to Afghans who helped the U.S. during the war. He, too, has been worried about his family and says they're waiting for the worst.
We had a common enemy, and still that enemy is at large. That enemy is taken over of the country, and those radical forces are now threatening the lives of millions of Afghans.
There are tens of thousands of special immigrant visa applicants who are now stuck. The International Rescue Committee in Atlanta, the same group which helped Meher get resettled in the U.S., says it's been receiving a lot of calls for help.
How do I help my mother, my father, my cousin, my siblings, my friends who aren't necessarily SIV holders, but we know what awaits if they remain in Afghanistan, and right now we don't have a lot of information to be able to share with them for a pathway out.
The IRC in Atlanta has helped resettle about 900 Afghans over the last 20 years.
If anyone believes that the Taliban and the Syrian laws will allow females to go to school, you better think again. That ain't gonna happen.
There was no immediate claim of responsibility for the rocket fire, but it came hours after Israeli troops clashed with Palestinian gunmen during a late-night arrest raid in the occupied West Bank, killing 4 Palestinians in one of the deadliest battles in the area in recent years. The rocket fire could jeopardize 3 months of relative calm since Israel and the militant group Hamas struck a ceasefire.
Governor Kemp is pleading with Georgians as more than 98% of hospitalized COVID patients in the state are unvaccinated. He announced that 2,800.
We will not prevent families from earning a paycheck.
Tonight, Georgia's top health official says the Delta variant is targeting one specific part of the population the most. Coming up at 11, we'll tell you all about the risks. In Atlanta, Rob DiRienzo, Fox 5.
Last week, Pruitt Health, Community Health Services of Georgia, and AG Roads announced their workers must be vaccinated by October 1st. Pruitt alone employs 13,000 healthcare staff in 4 states.
Have more staff, but some of them not be vaccinated.
Well, that might be the case, but I say, do you want to choose life or death?
You don't have to be 94 to know the answer to that question. In Canton, Randy Travis.
Pandemic right now, no. Could it become one? Absolutely, if the authorities do nothing about it.
Federal law states creating, buying, or selling a fraudulent government document is illegal. It could land you in prison for up to 5 years.
Well, earlier tonight, we in Hall County and Gainesville, Banks County and Homer, and on up into the Toccoa and Lake Hartwell area. South of the city, we're kind of gearing up. Here we go. This is just south of Greenville and LaGrange, kind of Callaway Gardens, Columbus area. Good moderate rainfall. And then Tropical Storm Fred, well, it's still a tropical storm, the latest advisory. It's bearing down on Dothan, Alabama right now, and you can see the plumes of
Black voters. The lawsuit specifically calls out provisions that target early and absentee voting and the widely criticized restrictions on passing out food or water to people waiting in long voting lines. 2 weeks ago, the state of Georgia filed a motion to dismiss the
approves the $1 trillion package of road, railway, and other infrastructure projects. Democrats can lose no more than 3 votes to pass the legislation, and in a letter Sunday to Democrats, a permanent increase in the levels of food aid available to 42 million needy Americans. Starting in October, average benefits for food stamps will rise more than 25% above pre-pandemic levels. That's the largest single increase in the program's history. The increase coincides with the end of a 15% boost in food benefits that was ordered as a pandemic protection measure. That benefit expires at the end of September. Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack said that with the change, which is projected to cost an additional $20 billion per year, the U.S. will do a better job of providing healthy food for low-income families. In practical terms, the average monthly per-person benefits for qualified recipients will rise from $121 to